Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real quick that life taught me. You ain't got to make noise to become somebody. See, nowadays, everybody wants to post every little move they make. But greatness, it doesn't need an audience at every step. It needs focus, it needs work, it needs silence. Discipline your daily routine without announcing it. That's where the real magic begins. You see, the problem with most people today is they talk more about what they're going to do than actually doing it. Everybody's got a plan, a dream, a vision, but only a few have the discipline to wake up every day and stick to the process quietly. Discipline doesn't need attention, it needs commitment. When you build yourself silently, you remove the pressure of performing for others and start showing up for yourself. It's not about making noise, it's about making progress. And progress starts with your routine. Your routine is your foundation, and without a strong foundation, nothing lasting can be built. Think about it. What are you doing before the sun comes up? What are you doing when no one's watching, no one's clapping, and no one's posting about you? Because that's the version of you that determines your future. Waking up at a consistent time, setting goals for the day, sticking to them, and staying accountable without an audience, that's discipline, that's growth, that's where transformation happens. The world doesn't need to know how early you woke up or how many tasks you crushed. Let your results reflect it. When you keep your discipline private, it becomes more powerful because you're not wasting energy proving something. You're using that energy to become something. Quiet discipline also protects you from distractions. When you're focused on showing people your grind, you become dependent on their reaction. But when you keep it to yourself, you free yourself. You're not living off of likes or validation. You're fueled by purpose. You don't need to tell people you're in the gym or that you skipped the party to work on your goals. You just do it. And every time you choose consistency over comfort, every time you choose effort over excuse, every time you choose to stay committed without recognition, you grow stronger. You become more in control of your life, your choices, your direction. It's not easy. That's why most people won't do it. Most people want to announce the journey before they've even taken the first step. They want applause for intentions instead of results. But you have to be different. You have to understand that true discipline is quiet. It's humble, it's patient. It doesn't brag, it builds. And that daily routine you commit to, even when no one notices, is the same routine that will one day shock everyone. Because while they were watching others, you were working on yourself. While they were posting about success, you were becoming it. You don't owe anyone a breakdown of your every move. You don't have to document your every hour to prove you're doing the work. Let them wonder. Let them assume. Let them see the change when it happens. Your transformation will speak louder than any caption. The quiet commitment to your routine will be the loudest statement you'll ever make. And the best part is, once you've trained yourself to move in discipline, without distraction, without external motivation, you become unstoppable. You stop needing reminders, encouragement, and praise because your purpose becomes your engine. That's the kind of discipline that builds empires, not just images. And it all starts with the decision to commit, to show up, to do the work day in and day out without making noise about it. Cut off unnecessary distractions and stay focused. In a world full of noise, staying focused has become one of the rarest and most powerful skills. Distractions are everywhere, on your phone, in your social media feed, in the form of people who don't share your vision, and even in your own thoughts. Most people don't reach their full potential not because they're not talented or capable, but because they never learn how to protect their focus. Every time you allow yourself to be pulled in 10 different directions, you lose momentum. And when momentum is broken, progress is delayed. To build yourself quietly, you need to become ruthless about eliminating what doesn't serve your goal. Distractions are not always obvious. Sometimes they come disguised as opportunities, conversations, entertainment, or even relationships. But if they're not helping you grow, they're slowing you down. You have to become honest with yourself about what's taking up your time and whether it's adding to your future or taking from it. Every scroll, every mindless hour spent chasing comfort, every moment you give to drama or negativity is a withdrawal from your potential. You can't afford to keep paying that price. Your future depends on what you're doing right now. And if you're constantly distracted, you'll look back years from now wondering where all that time went. Cutting off distractions isn't just about removing things. It's about strengthening your commitment to what matters. You have to be so clear about your purpose that anything that doesn't align with it feels like an interruption. When you truly understand what you're chasing, the temptation to entertain every distraction becomes weaker. That clarity creates power, gives you direction, and helps you say no to what doesn't deserve your attention. It teaches you to protect your energy, your mind, your peace, and your time. That's how you start building something real. Not by trying to manage everything, but by removing the excess and going all in on what actually counts. Focus is not a switch you flip once, it's a muscle you train daily. It means waking up and choosing your goal over your comfort again and again. It means turning down things that may be fun now but cost you your progress later. It means creating boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. You have to discipline your mind to resist the easy distractions and commit to the hard work. Most people don't fail because they didn't try hard enough. They fail because they tried too many things at once, never giving full effort to anything. If you're serious about growing, you have to get serious about simplifying your life. Sometimes that means distancing yourself from certain people. Not because you're better than them, but because you're trying to be better than the person you were yesterday. If someone constantly distracts you from your goals, drains your motivation, or brings unnecessary noise into your life, you have to be willing to let go. The people who truly support your growth will understand your need to focus. The ones who don't will never align with your vision in the first place. Your time is precious. Every moment you waste on the distractions is a moment you could have used to get closer to the life you want to live. Staying focused is also about creating systems and habits that support your vision. If you know your phone is a distraction, set limits. If you know certain environments pull you away from your work, change your surroundings. You're not weak for being distracted, you're human. But the strong ones are the ones who recognize the problem and adjust their path. Focus requires sacrifice. You might miss out on a few things now, but you'll gain everything you've been dreaming about later. The quiet ones who stay focused are the ones who eventually stand out. While others are busy watching, scrolling, talking, you're building. While others are distracted by the moment, you're focused on the future. Learn in silence and let your growth speak for itself. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, the real power lies in becoming the student who learns without needing the spotlight. You don't need to announce every book you read, every video you watch, or every insight you gain. Learning quietly allows the focus to stay on the knowledge itself, not the attention that comes with it. When you learn in silence, you remove the ego from the process. You start to understand that personal development is not a performance. It's a private journey of expanding your mind, changing your patterns, and growing beyond the person you were yesterday. The loudest growth is the one people don't see happening until the results are undeniable. The problem with constantly announcing your learning process is that it often turns into a desire for validation. You might begin learning for the praise, for the recognition, or to prove a point. But when you study in silence, the only person you're trying to impress is your future self. You're not trying to win approval, you're trying to win at life. Every lesson you absorb becomes a building block. Every mistake you reflect on becomes a foundation for wisdom. Every time you choose to listen more than you speak, you position yourself to grow far beyond those who seek noise over knowledge. There's nothing more powerful than someone who is quietly sharpening their mind behind closed doors, preparing for opportunities that others haven't even seen coming yet. Silent learners become dangerous in the best way. They walk into rooms with answers, clarity, and understanding because they spent time preparing when no one else was paying attention. That's the kind of growth that's hard to ignore. It shows up in your confidence, your decisions, your actions. You don't need to say you've changed. People will feel it. Your maturity, your wisdom, your discipline, your emotional control, your ideas, they'd all reflect that quiet journey of learning. And what's even more powerful is that this type of growth is long-lasting because it's built on true understanding, not surface-level motivation or temporary hype. There's also strength in being underestimated. When people don't know how much you've been studying and how hard you've been working or how deeply you've been growing, they're not prepared for the version of you that's about to show up. Let them sleep on you. Let them assume you're not evolving. Because one day your results, your transformation, your success, they will speak volumes. The knowledge you've quietly collected becomes a weapon. You won't have to argue your worth, you won't have to prove your intelligence, and you won't have to convince anyone of your growth. Your actions, your resilience, and your results will make the statement for you. Learning in silence also protects your process. It allows you to fail privately, reflect deeply, and correct without shame. Growth is messy. It includes trial and error, moments of doubt, setbacks, and slow progress. When you do it in silence, you give yourself the grace to evolve without judgment. You're not pressured to appear perfect. You're focused on getting better, not being seen getting better. That difference alone changes everything. You stay authentic to the process instead of performing it. You stay grounded and disciplined rather than being swayed by the opinions of others. You're not learning for applause. You're learning for freedom, for mastery, for peace, and for power. The time you spend investing in your mind, your skills, and your inner strength without needing anyone to witness it becomes a silent transformation that no one can take away from you. It becomes a part of you, rooted so deeply that it begins to shape your decisions, elevate your standards, and separate you from the crowd. While others are speaking about what they're going to become, you're becoming it. While others are busy showcasing effort, you're silently building excellence. The real ones don't have to say a word because their growth speaks before they even open their mouth. Let your failures teach you, not define you. Failure is one of life's greatest teachers, but only if you're willing to listen and learn instead of letting it shape your identity. Too often, people experience a setback and start believing that the failure is a reflection of who they are. They let it damage their confidence, limit their belief, and crush their potential. But failure is never a finish line. It's a chapter, a lesson, a moment in time. The most successful people in the world didn't get there because they avoided failure. They got there because they faced it, learned from it, and came back stronger every time it tried to knock them down. Your relationship with failure determines how far you'll go in life, because every journey worth taking includes moments that don't go as planned. There's a misconception that failure means you're doing something wrong, but more often than not, it means you're trying something that matters. Failure means you stepped out of your comfort zone, took a risk, and put effort into growth. That alone puts you ahead of the people who never even tried. The truth is, nobody learns when everything goes right. You learn when it falls apart. You learn when you lose money, miss an opportunity, or mess up in front of others. It's in those moments where your character is tested and shaped. You can choose to let failure break you, or you can let it refine you. The difference is mindset. Do you see failure as punishment or as preparation? The ones who grow quietly and powerfully are the ones who take each failure personally, not as shame, but as a signal. They look at what went wrong and ask, what can I do better next time? They take accountability, not excuses. They stay in the fight instead of walking away. That kind of mental toughness doesn't come overnight, but every time you respond to failure with growth, you build resilience. That resilience becomes the very thing that helps you succeed where others quit. When you let failure become a teacher, you start looking at setbacks differently. You don't panic when something goes wrong. You evaluate, you adjust, and you go again. There will be people who laugh at your failures, who use your missteps as proof that you're not good enough. Let them. Their opinions don't build your future. What builds your future is your ability to keep going after you fall. What defines your success is how you rise, not how many times you avoid falling. Some of the most brilliant ideas, breakthroughs, and transformations come right after the lowest points. But you can only get there if you keep moving forward with the wisdom failure gives you. It's like a coach. It points out your weaknesses, exposes your blind spots, and forces you to improve. You don't have to like it, but you do have to respect it. There's also a level of humility that comes from failure that success can't teach. It makes you grateful for progress. It reminds you that you're not invincible. It keeps you grounded, focused, and hungry. That hunger is what drives you to do better next time. Not for applause, but because you know what it feels like to come up short. That pain becomes fuel. That disappointment becomes a drive. And over time, you become someone who is not afraid to fail anymore because you've realized that failure doesn't destroy you, it develops you. Every lesson makes you sharper. Every scar makes you wiser. Every fall makes you stronger. You are not your failure. You are the person who showed up, took the risk, learned the lesson, and kept going. Don't hide your failures. Grow through them. Don't dwell on what didn't work. Focus on what it taught you. There is no shame in failing. The only shame is in giving up before you let failure do its work. The world may not see the effort behind the comeback, but that comeback starts the moment you choose to rise, learn, and try again without letting the fall define your worth or your future. Invest time in building your mindset and character. Most people spend their energy trying to improve their outer world, working on their appearance, chasing money, and collecting things they think will impress others. But all of that fades if the inner world is weak. Your mindset is the engine that drives your life, and your character is the compass that keeps you on course. When you build both quietly and consistently, you become someone who doesn't just survive life, you shape it. A strong mindset allows you to face adversity without breaking. Solid character keeps you grounded when success comes your way. These two things are not inherited, they are built, and it takes intentional time and effort to develop them. Mindset is the way you see challenges, the way you respond to setbacks, the way you speak to yourself when no one else is around. It's how you handle fear, stress, and pressure. A weak mindset crumbles when things get hard. A strong mindset adapts, finds solutions, and keeps pushing forward. The only way to strengthen that mindset is through experience, reflection, and discipline. You've got to put yourself in situations that stretch you. You've got to challenge your comfort zone, expose yourself to new perspectives, and feed your mind with thoughts that uplift instead of thoughts that limit. Every day is an opportunity to either let your mind be shaped by negativity or to mold it intentionally with focus, gratitude, and drive. At the same time, character is what defines how you treat people, how you carry yourself when no one is watching, and what you choose to stand for when the pressure is on. It's not about reputation. That's what people think of you. Character is who you really are. When you invest in your character, you become trustworthy, dependable, and solid. People can rely on you. You become someone who doesn't shift with the wind, who doesn't change just to fit in or to be liked. Character is formed in the quiet decisions, the choice to do the right thing when it's hard, the ability to stay humble when you're winning, and the strength to stay honest when lying would be easier. And that kind of person never needs to scream for respect because who they are demands it without a word. It takes effort to build these qualities. It's not as glamorous as buying new clothes or posting pictures of your success. It's the work that nobody sees. The daily grind of choosing discipline over distraction, choosing patience over pride, choosing to learn instead of pretending to know. Most people skip this work because it doesn't bring instant results. But over time, it becomes the difference between those who collapse under the weight of life and those who stand strong no matter what comes their way. The ones who put in this work become unshakable. They don't rely on motivation because they build habits. They don't chase validation because they built self-worth. They don't get lost in failure because they've trained their minds to see every setback as part of the journey. There's something powerful about someone who invests in their mind and their morals. That person walks differently. They speak with purpose. They lead with integrity. They respond with wisdom. They don't need to control everything around them because they've mastered what's inside of them. That's the kind of growth that can't be faked. It's not loud, but it's unforgettable. And the best part is that no one can take it from you. The world might shift, people might change, but when your mindset and character are strong, you stay steady. You show up fully. You make decisions that align with your values. You keep pushing forward, not because it's easy, but because you've built yourself to handle the weight of the dream you're carrying. To stay away from loud validation and build real results. One of the greatest distractions in today's world is the constant need for approval. People chase applause, likes, comments, and recognition, thinking that these things will validate their journey. But the truth is, loud validation is shallow, it's temporary, and often it becomes a trap. It makes you start performing for attention instead of performing for progress. Real growth, real success, and real achievement don't come from showing off the process. They come from staying quiet, doing the work, and allowing your results to speak when the time is right. You don't need to tell people how focused you are. You need to be so focused that people feel your presence through your action. When you chase loud validation, you begin to make choices based on what will impress others, not what will elevate your life. You start announcing plans before you've taken the first step. You start sharing goals that you haven't even begun working on. And every time you do that, you give a little piece of your momentum away. You feed your ego, but starve your growth. Real results don't require hype. They don't need permission. They don't depend on the crowd. They are the product of private discipline, consistent effort, and the humility to keep going, even when nobody claps for you. That's where your power comes from. Not from being seen, but from being solid. It's easy to get addicted to being noticed. In a world where everything is shared, it almost feels like if it's not posted, it didn't happen. But that mindset is dangerous. It takes your focus off the work and places it on the reaction. And once you start building for the reaction, you lose control. because now your self-worth is tied to how many people liked your post, how many compliments you received, how many people watched you. And that's a fragile way to live because attention fades. People forget. The spotlight moves on, but results stay. Results speak louder than any caption. Results are respected by those who know the real grind. And most importantly, results give you confidence that can't be taken away because you earned it in silence. There's a peace that comes with building quietly. You're not performing. You're not defending your dreams. You're not trying to prove anything. You're just working. You're focused. You're growing. You're showing up every day and stacking wins that no one knows about yet. And while others are distracted by praise, you're building a foundation so strong that when your moment comes, you're ready. You won't have to explain your journey because the results will make it obvious. People will ask how you did it when you started, what your secret was, but the truth is there is no secret. It was just daily, disciplined work done without the need to be seen. Loud validation fades, but quiet mastery lasts. The more you seek external approval, the more you drift from your own purpose. But when you learn to sit with yourself, to believe in your process even when no one's watching, you become powerful. You stop chasing and you start creating. You stop explaining and you start executing. And that kind of focus builds momentum that no applause can match. It teaches you that what you do in silence is more valuable than anything said out loud. It's not about what the world sees. It's about what you know you've done. Let people wonder what you're working on. Let them doubt you. Let them forget you. And while they're watching someone else, you keep building something real. Because one day the results you've built in silence will show up so strong, they won't need to be introduced. They'll walk into the room before you do. They'll speak before you open your mouth. And they'll carry a weight that no validation ever could.